if you don't have a vision for what you want or where you're going, it's awfully hard to leave your current state, even if
Mhm.
your current state isn't really serving you. Like it's not serving you. You're sad that your kids left. You can't seem to get out of the house, or you have this health crisis, but you're sort of resisting what's going on with it. Whatever it is, right? Like it's hard to get out of that place unless you have a clear vision of where you want to go. So one of the
That
things,
you
oh,
you may I'm going to stop you for 1 sec because I just want to
sure.
reiterate that is so important. It's just like if you were going to go on vacation, you have to know where you're going. Otherwise, you're kind of in this frenzy of I have my bags packed, but I don't know where I'm going, and you're not grounded. And if you know where you're going, you're grounded and you have a vision and you know where you're going to. And that's in life too, right? Hey there, it's Suzanne Oshima, life coach for women in midlife, and your fellow sister on a mission to empower and inspire you through the twists and turns of midlife. I'm here to help you transform it into your best life with the Life is Now, Do It While You Can podcast. We only get one life, so let's make it count, and I'm super excited to dive into this new journey together. Welcome, everybody, to the Life is Now, Do It While You Can show. I'm Suzanne Oshima, and I'm a life coach for women in midlife. And today we have a very special guest, Marianne Rabat, and she's a master energy healer. And today we're talking about how to navigate life's big transition. So welcome, Marianne. I'm so excited to have you here.
Oh, thank you, Suzanne. Excited to be here.
So tell us, because I'm sure a lot of people don't know, but how did you become a master energy healer?
I know it's a very now it's more acceptable, but when I was on my journey, I started in my late 20s. I live on the East Coast, and at that time I was working for a large high-tech company. And I actually loved my job. I got to travel all over the world, I work with different cultures. I have a great husband. I had the house, so I had like the American package, right? Like the picket fence and everything was going well. But inside, I didn't feel so great. It was just sort of like I should be happy, but I'm not feeling happy. Like, yep, we made all our goals, met our things, and yet there was this empty piece inside me. So at the time, I went on this journey to figure out what, what was I missing? What was going on? And through this process, I met some fabulous people. I met a woman that did, she called it success consulting at the time, but it was like one of the first coaching programs. And she coached me through what my purpose is and vision and goals. And I thought, wow, this is really impactful. And the funny thing was, at the time, I was doing that for the companies I was working for, but never thought to turn it on myself and say, what's my purpose? What's my vision? What's my goals as I move forward? And then I met a corporate shaman. I was working, I told you, in business, and I had gone in to do this big presentation. I was asking for a couple $1 million, and he says, "When are you going to use your real gifts?" And I thought, "Oh crap! I blew that presentation." So I followed up with him, and he goes, "Oh, no, no, you're going to get the money. I want to know when you're going to use your real gift." And I'm looking at him like he has five heads. Like, what are we talking about? What real gift? And he says, "Your intuition, your healing abilities." And
Mm.
and I'm looking at him like, healing abilities. Like that just didn't even play into my realm. Actually, it did when I went to college. I thought about being going into the medical profession, but I hate blood. I don't like hospitals, and I'm like, this is not for me. But I was intrigued, and so I started doing some work with him. And after about 6 months, he opened up my intuition. I connected with these guys, and he goes, "You're way more advanced than I am now. You need to go find another teacher." And
Oh,
I thought,
wow. That's
wait,
crazy.
what? Yeah, he goes, "I have been at this for almost 15 years, and you are just so open. I just get so much information for myself, for other people, for the planet." And so then I went on this search for a new teacher. And at the same time as I was doing the coaching, my coach said, "Well, what's your spirituality like?" And of course, I was like in my late 20s, really haven't thought about it. And I said, "Well, I'm not that religious." And she goes, "No, I'm not talking about religious. What's your spirituality like?" And I'm like, "Huh, I don't really know." So I went on a journey to discover like what's my belief system around my spirituality and how would I like that to play out. And so over the course of like 6, 7 years, I met all these fabulous people, mainly on the West Coast. There was nothing going on the East Coast. If I told somebody I was
It's
exploring energy work, they'd say, like, "You're going to go work for Eversource," which is our electrical company.
that's
Like,
hilarious.
yeah, energy just wasn't even a thing.
Because people on the West Coast in California, would you say we're more woo-woo?
Absolutely. And I would say, Suzanne, one of the issues for me was that some of the people I was meeting in this sort of field were so woo and so ungrounded. And I come from the East and science is king, and and so it was just sort of like trying to calibrate the two ways of looking at things. And I will tell you though, it has played into my success because most of the people that come to me say, "I can't believe how grounded you are. I can't believe how like practical you are and how you know these things." And partly it's because you know, you can do the energy work, but I can't take the pragmatic person from myself, right? Like, so I still approach every client with a structure, a strategy. How are we going to move forward in this? So, and most of the time at that time, energy work really consisted of, oh, try this, oh, try that, oh, go to this person, oh, and there was never a consistent plan or approach to do this kind of work in life. And you know, that's what I did in business, and so of course I started to apply it to my side, I guess you call it a side hustle now. Back then, I would just see clients on the side of my day job. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I love it that you shared that you have both sides because I feel like that people need both sides. It's not like you need one or the other. You kind of need both, right? Because, well, and I'll just speak for myself. I like the woo woo, but I also want the practical. Like I can't have it two way out there because I
Right.
just need to be grounded in the practical too.
I totally agree with you. And what was so fascinating for me at the time was I had people coming to me. Oh, so in 2000, one of the next big transitions. So I go on the spiritual journey. My family thinks I'm joining a cult. They're all worried about all this stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm just trying to explore what it means to me and what life means. But in 2000, I had triplets. And so it was another one of those moments in life where I had to think about, well, what do I really want to do here? I loved working in business. I loved creating organizations and seeing them grow and transform. But at the same time, I waited a long time to have my children. And I thought, I really want to be home with them. So I stepped out of my job, and all these people that I did one-on-ones on the side started to call and say, "Can I come back? Can I see you now that you're home?" And I'm like, "Oh, sure. You know, I had a meditation room."
Mhm.
And so I used to bring them up there. And then after like 2 years, I got so busy, I had to get a place outside of my house because I was meeting all these people I didn't know, and I didn't want to bring them into my home.
Right.
And I'll share a funny story. One day, my little daughter, Maya, was probably about 2 at the time. And my husband and I are sitting at the dining room table having breakfast. And Maya turns around and she has my boots up to her little butt, totally naked, with my briefcase, and said, "I'm going to see my clients. Bye." Because she had seen me. bring
That's
clients
cute.
up. And my husband goes, what kind of clients does she have? But
That's
uh,
funny.
but that was just sort of trying to manage having these three babies, but still doing work that I was passionate about and wanted to contribute to people's lives. And to go back to that point you were making around you need practical and the energy work, I would have people coming out of the corporate world that only knew me as a coach. So I would only coach them. And then I would have these other people that knew me more in the energy work and the spiritual
Mhm.
realm. So I would do both with them. After a year or so, what I noticed was the people that I did both made huge advancements way faster than the people I just coached. And so I thought,
Oh,
I'm doing a disservice to these people that are coming. And part of it was my own like reticence to bring out to the corporate world this is what I was doing. But when
mhm.
I saw the dramatic differences, I thought I really need to bring that to the corporate world too. So I started to do both, and I never had anyone say, "Oh no, you're doing both." Like I'm not going to work with you. In fact, just the opposite. Yeah.
Ah, that's awesome. So, one of the things that I've noticed with my own clients is a lot of people are going through some big life transitions right now. And that could be anything from divorce, it could be forced into early retirement when they don't really want to. And they're not ready for it, or we're in midlife going through an unexpected health crisis, or
Hmm.
one of the other things that I see is empty nest syndrome. And
Yes.
going, God, I didn't expect this. So, how can we conquer like these big life changes and really embrace it instead of resist it in our lives?
That is such an excellent question because we're probably of a similar age, you and I. And so that's a lot of my clients are also in that space. And one of the first things I say is to recognize where you are. Like just recognize, give yourself a moment to say, wow, either I'm getting a divorce or I lost my job, I can't seem to find another one, or my kids are all gone and I don't know what to do with myself, or even my question, which is, I'm really unhappy. Like, I have everything I wanted, but I'm unhappy. Like, it's not fulfilling me in a way that I thought it would. So just first of all, give yourself grace, recognize it. And I think the second thing to do is to know that in life there's many transitions. So you probably have gone through transitions, just like going through the school system, right? You go from grammar school to middle
Right.
school to high school. Some people go on to college, some people go out to jobs. Those are all transitions. And I like my client to look at them and ask the question, how did you do during those transitions? Because it gives them confidence to know, like, oh, I did actually okay. So they have a muscle around transitions, they just haven't used it in a while. And the one of the other challenges is if you don't have a vision for what you want or where you're going, it's awfully hard to leave your current state, even if
Mhm.
your current state isn't really serving you. Like it's not serving you. You're sad that your kids left. You can't seem to get out of the house, or you have this health crisis, but you're sort of resisting what's going on with it. Whatever it is, right? Like it's hard to get out of that place unless you have a clear vision of where you want to go. So one of the
That
things,
you
oh,
you
go
may
ahead.
I'm gonna stop you for 1 sec because I just wanna
Sure.
reiterate that is so important. It's just like if you were gonna go on vacation, you have to know where you're going. Otherwise, you're kind of in this frenzy of I have my bags packed, but I don't know where I'm going, and you're not grounded. And if you know where you're going, you're grounded and you have a vision and you know where you're going to. And that's in life too, right?
Exactly. I love that analogy because And that just speaks to the fact that we've all done transitions many, many times, like even transitioning from your day job to going on a vacation. That's a transition. And what happens is, I think when we have these big transitions, people get stuck. It just feels like a little overwhelming for them, and they don't know where they want to go. And everyone around feels it their job to tell the person, oh, well, I did this, so you should do that, or you think about that, which then actually creates more confusion, overwhelm, and keeps them stuck. In those big moments of transformation, I like to call it transformation. The first thing is go within yourself and start to ask yourself, what do I want? What makes me happy? What am I passionate about? What brings me joy? Because we are in midlife, it's no longer about just surviving or getting through anymore, right? It's about creating the kind of life that you want. And so you should think about these ideas of what brings you joy, what fills your heart up. How do you like to connect to people? Maybe you
Yeah.
don't like to connect to people. Like, those are the things that you need to explore for yourself so that you can get a big picture of where you're at and also what makes you happy so that you can create your vision.
So now, and I totally agree with you. That's so important. But I've heard some of my clients who, have raised their children, they're grown and they're off on their own. Yet they find that because they're so used to putting everybody else first and putting themselves last, and I'm sure you could relate because you had triplets. I don't even know where you found time for yourself. I was like, what? Triplets? Oh my gosh. But how can a woman who is so used to putting everyone first and putting herself last transition? Because I've heard clients say to me they feel guilty, they feel selfish. So how can they move from that into this is my time, I'm going to put myself first?
I love that. And it's really about deciding that it's your time. I have a good friend that I found out she has four of the receptors for dementia. Now, she's been
Mhm.
helping babysit and do all these things for her kids. Like, her life revolved around her grandkids and her kids. Once she found that out, her and her husband went into conversation and said, well, how do we want this next phase of our life to be? She told her kids to get sitters, and they went to a warmer destination than New Hampshire for the winters and created a life for themselves. And I think what you have to remember is that this is your life. And yes, you're used to doing everything for everyone, but that's what we call a caretaker. And sometimes, in order for the caretaker to fill their engine back up, they have to start doing things for themselves. Because if you're always caretaking, I've noticed I have several clients that are extreme caretakers, there's like a layer of anger underneath there
Yep.
because then they get upset that no one's showing up for them. And people take advantage of them, and I can go on and on. So the first thing is to recognize, like, oh, am I doing that? Am I postponing my life to continue to serve? Or I have another friend that brought up her boys and can't seem to get out, create what she wants because she doesn't know. So a lot of times caretakers stay caretaking, not because they love it, but they don't know what's next. So I would say to your clients that have that issue, that's when you get to explore. And then the last thing is you put your time in. Like, everyone has put their time in. And so you have to honor that about yourself. Like your body stayed healthy for you, your mind stayed healthy. So now it's time to give back to you because you've been giving out so much. So those are the
Yeah.
things I would tend to talk to when people feel like I feel guilty.
Yeah, you make a really great point. So, okay, so what if she does move through that and say, okay, I'm putting myself first. I want to start doing all these things. But then all of a sudden, the fear comes up
Yeah, and
and
it's
the
very
fear of,
real.
yeah, the fear of the unknown, fear of, oh God, I don't know if I can do this. And so then she pulls back a little. How does she move through that fear to keep going forward?
It's what I say is that's when you break down your vision into small little steps and you begin to take one little step at a time. Like, don't
Yeah.
think about, oh, here's my vision. I want a house on the ocean on the other side of the country and blah, blah, blah. Right? That's a big vision. So, what's the first thing that you can do? What's the second little step that you can take? Like, it doesn't have to, like, it could take you 3 years to get to that vision. It could take you 5 years. But along the way, you're pulling in other parts of life that can fulfill you. So, for instance, when I work with people, it's not only about the what's the vision of what you can have, but also who do you want to be? Like we focus so much in life around do, like doing
Mhm.
all the time, and that's where we've been taught, our generation at least, has been taught that's where our value comes from by doing. And so, this idea of getting value from just being is really a hard concept to grasp. One of the things I say is if you had to show up and be present, how would you want to walk into that room? Do you walk in with a smile? Do you walk in with this level of openness? Do you walk in with excitement because your life is bubbling with all these new things? Or do you just walk in, right? Like that is the issue I see with a lot of people is because they don't even they're not connected with their own beingness. They're not giving them space just to breathe and to think about when I go to these different events, when I do these different things, who do I want to be?
Yeah. I love that because we and you and I are alike. I don't even have to ask you. I know we're alike in that we're strong, independent women. We're used to doing, right?
Yes.
Um, and it's very hard for strong, independent women who are always doing, doing, doing to drop into that being, right?
Hmm.
And I didn't learn that full transparency until I went through a transformational coaching program that taught me the difference between the doing versus being. And one of the things that I learned that always helped me and how to drop into the being, because it's hard to describe sometimes, is what I was told is you want to drop out of your head and you want to drop
And
into your heart. And
yes.
and for us strong independent women, it's kind of like this aha. What do you mean drop into my heart? I don't use that in business, right?
Right. Well, and also dropping into your heart also can present as very vulnerable, right? Like,
Mhm.
oh, drop into that place that I protect at all costs. Like,
Yeah.
you want me to walk into that room with my heart open to, so that concept is also can be challenging. But what I love about the go from head to heart is it like gets you connected with the two states, like the
Mhm.
doing state and more of the being, like being
Yeah.
present, being excited. Like I think right before we got on live, I was telling you, oh, I just came off of a tennis court. I played a 3 hour match in 88-degree weather. And I'm in my 60s, and that's a long match for me. But I was so excited when I was driving home, thinking about that. I get to spend this time with you talking about transformation because I think when you are in a place of transformation, that's when life gets juicy because you get to create, you get to say to yourself, ooh, what do I want now? How do I want to be? Who do I want to be? What baggage can I leave behind and stop carrying into my next situation and my next situation? Right? Like it's like, oh, it's such a juicy time. And I think that if people can hold that, like, yes, it's fearful. Like when my 4 kids went, oh, I mean, my 4 kids, my 3 kids went away to college, my husband was having a hard time with them leaving. I, on the other hand, was like, wow, this is the first time I've had some freedom of space and time. Now, what do I want to do with it? My empty nest issue came a year later. They had been out of the house for a year. I was creating this life I loved. And then it like hit me like, oh my gosh, they're never going to live at home. And I just gave myself the space to acknowledge that, grieve for the past, right? Because the past was, it gave you all sorts of gifts and stuff. So you get to be in a little bit of a grieving process. And then you get to move forward. Because staying in the grief of things or in the stuck of things just makes life so difficult and hard. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's so true. And I love that you said it's okay to go through the grieving process, but you don't want to stay there. And it's so important to remember that you can go through a breakdown, because on the other side of a breakdown is a breakthrough. And that's what I love about, you get to be whatever you want to be, but you don't want to
yeah.
stay stuck in the breakdown, because transformation can't happen if you stay there too long,
Right,
right?
right, right.
And which is another important thing to point out is if someone gets stuck in the breakdown, right, the grieving or the depression state, that's at what point does someone should someone really seek out help? Because I think sometimes people get stuck in their head that, oh, I should be able to figure this out, and they don't get help when they really should.
Right. I would say that if you're stuck in some place for more than 6 months, you've been there too long. You know,
Hmm.
one of the things that I think about life is that our life could be taken tomorrow, right? Like we always believe that we're going to live until we're old and gray.
Yeah.
But that's not our reality, right? We had people die all sorts of ways and at different times. And so, would you really want to take 6 months of your life and I say being in a stuck place is like a level of suffering. Like you're
Yeah.
suffering and you have to understand that. Like, and so I would say more than 6 months. Really, what I want to say is 3 months, but that's just, as one other woman that works with me says, well, you're a super fast processor. So I'm going to double that up and say after 6 months, you should seek help. And you should seek help with somebody that you feel aligned, connected, understands who you are, and wants to support you through to your next phase, not sort of keep you in it. I've seen a lot of people
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, new client, let's keep her in this place for a long time. No, that's not good for you, and it's really not good for the other person either.
No, I'm so glad you said that. It's really about someone that's going to help you move forward, to get to the other side, because you don't want to go to a place where all you talk about is being stuck and stuck and stuck and stuck, because that's going to keep you stuck. I mean, it
Well,
may feel good to get it out, but if it's not moving you forward, that's not a good thing.
and also it creates these neural pathways in our mind. And these neural pathways are when we have these continuous thoughts. And it's like if you stay in that place for a long period of time, even when you want to get out, it's like this high speed train that brings you right back to that thought. So you don't want to give yourself enough time to then have to like work and change a whole bunch of your belief systems because the neural pathways got stuck too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so important. Well, this has been amazing, Marianne. So, how can people find you?
You can go to my website. It's maryannrobot.com, and you'll see a lot on transformation, energy work. I've written a few books, and there's a bunch of free things there if you're interested. Yeah, so that's probably the best place to go.
If you're ready to start living your best life, but you've been feeling a little disconnected or alone on this midlife journey, this is just a reminder you don't have to do it alone. If you've been craving real connections with like minded women and the kind of friendships that feel easy and supportive, then I'd love to invite you to join the waitlist for the Circle of Love Sisterhood. Because I created this community of women because midlife shouldn't be about going it alone. It should be about a time to thrive, connect, and surround yourself with women who truly get you. So if you'd like to join the waitlist, just head on over to suzanneoshima.com/waitlist and add your name to the waitlist. You'll be the first to know when the doors open again in the fall. And I can't wait to welcome you into the Circle of Love Sisterhood.